Someone's trying too many stunts.
Made in China.
Yeah.
When Trump takes office, we're bringing those to America. Wait, shit.
You know what? You know what I'm sick of? All the fidget spinner jobs we've been losing because of China.
Yeah.
They can make these damn fidget spinners for pennies on the dollar. You get a great
It's a
American
bad
company.
deal.
All the skateboard companies in America have to spend all their money
Whoa.
on
That's
bearings.
my one trick. This is my fidget spinner trick. It's actually super
You know who's
easy.
making the most money off of these? Skateboard companies. Because those are the
the
exact
bearings,
bearings that
yeah.
go in all the wheels.
Right.
They're like, fuck, nobody's buying longboards anymore.
The amount
What
of
do we
people,
do?
The amount of people are like, oh, fidget spinner's stupid. And then you give them one and they just spend the whole night just fucking spinning.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah. It's really shameful.
I would do it on the
Pathetic.
plane. You know what? Are we rolling? This is good. This is fine. This is a good conversation to have. Are we actually going?
Oh.
All right, yeah, keep
Oh.
this in. I was
Candid.
thinking about that too. Is like, you know when I would actually use it? On a plane. Because
You would. Oh God. I would
fucking I get
Can you
nervous.
imagine
I
sitting
get
next to a guy with a fidget spinner just the
yes,
fucking
exactly.
whole time?
I get nervous on planes because like turbulence freaks me out. I know the plane's not going to crash, but turbulence kind of still freaks me out. And instead of wasting $30 on alcohol to get drunk enough to be sedated to the point where I don't care if I die, having a fidget spinner might actually work.
Yeah,
but
you know
also,
what? You know what
look
I
like
would-
a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
That passenger would get a lot of phantom elbows, and also when I get up to go to the bathroom, it would be like, you know.
You can just crop dust that one chair.
Yeah. There's a polite way to move around an airplane, and I would revoke that from that person.
Why? Does it
I'm
really
surprised-
bother
Because
you?
the sound is so distracting.
You can't on a plane. You're not going to be able to hear it.
Yeah. I mean,
Planes are
that's
very
true.
loud. Planes are very loud.
I feel like I'm surprised they haven't banned it yet on planes. They
Fidget-
banned like everything else.
Fidget cube.
Did you see that
Perfectly
news
fine.
article where the guy cut his dick off with one?
I don't think that's real.
No.
I don't think it's real either, but it's a great article. He's like he was making like weaponized ones with like razor blades on
I
them.
saw that because
Like
the TSA
fell off and sliced his dick off or
the
something.
TSA posted a picture of like a fucking ninja star that was a fidget spinner, and they're like,
Oh.
just
Yeah.
so you guys know, this is a weapon. Just so we're clear on that, you guys can't bring this on board.
Yeah, no shit. You know what? Just ban them anyway.
Just bring back Tickle Me Elmo. Hot toys used to be fun.
Like Pogs. Play some Pogs on a plane.
You guys
Yeah.
remember Zuzu Pets?
No.
What?
You know, that was like the toy of the year. They were like the little hamsters, and you just squish them, and they make noises. You remember
What
that?
country are you from?
No, they was like it was.
This is all we had in Romania.
They were like fucking $40 toys that
Yeah.
would just like you hit their nose and then go "Meow." Like that was the whole thing.
I was poor when I was
I
a
don't
kid.
know. I didn't grow up in the L.A. kid scene.
I think
where-
this
I had to
was a
save
little
up
bit
for weeks
later.
to get a Tamagotchi. So I don't know.
I had a
I
bunch
never
of
had one.
Tamagotchis.
My biggest regret? Buying a Weezer CD. I spent so much money on that. I like saved up like 2 weeks allowance and was like,
CDs were like
finally,
20 bucks.
I can get a
Weezer's come
Weezer
up-
CD. And I was like, this album kind of sucks.
What? The blue
Which
album?
one?
No, it was the Green album. I
Green
was
album?
younger.
Oh, what? You were
No,
like
it was a-
18 when that came out.
Nah,
Your
it might have
timeline's
been,
all wrong.
It might have been something different then.
They
I'm
made
pretty
the
sure it was a
blue
Weezer.
album in like 94. They
It might have
made
been
Pinkerton in
It
like
might have been
97.
Pinkerton.
And then
I
they
love
were
it now.
5 years off.
Yeah, I love it now, but I think I was just bucking the trend then and was like, yeah, cool, Weezer's big.
I started watching. Do you know the Janine Garofalo half-hour comedy special on HBO?
Nah,
like,
I've
that was
avoid- I've
on
avoided
the
it.
list. It was on the list of all like the top comedy specials of all time.
Yeah.
And so I started watching it with Rob, and like it was so fucking dated because she comes out, she goes, so they just opened up in a Starbucks in my apartment, and people fucking died. Like, and she talked about like Weezer and like just all this. It was just so dated to go back and watch those specials again.
Weaponized nostalgia.
Yeah, it's weird.
Sad.
Well, anyways, sorry about the fidget spinner talk again. We're actually here to chat about our recent trip to Cuba. We're gonna have a video coming out.
Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera,
We heard that song a lot. And then
Guantanamera.
the song that
Guantanamera.
all I can hear that and
And
this
so
happened
on.
too. So there's that new like it's not a real Justin Bieber song, but he appropriated it.
Despacito.
So we heard that song so
Burritos.
much there, like all the performers had already learned it.
They got 5 songs. They cycle through them.
Yeah,
I
and
heard
then
each of
by
them
the time I
100
got
times.
home, like if the radio's on like low volume, every song sounds like Despacito to me.
Yeah.
Like it's just in my brain. They were playing other songs, like I'd hear like that song he just sung and be like, like it would still come out.
Yeah,
Right.
a lot of the
Puerto
Buena Vista
Rico.
social clubs, which
Oh,
apparently
yeah.
that album by itself collects every Cuban song ever written. Because that's
Apparently.
all I fucking heard.
Yeah.
Yando cero voy para Macané, llevo a Puerto voy para
But the saddest thing was
Mayarí.
I made 2 nights. I made the request for Cuban Pete. Nobody even knew it existed.
Yeah, that's
Well, we found out it was
it's a Desi Arnaz song.
It's the song
He
from
made
The
it
Mask.
American.
That's why I knew it. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
my name is Cuban Pete, and I'm dancing to the Cuban beat, and it goes chick chicky boom chick chick. And,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Very
I was
authentic.
like, yeah. So I'm like, hey, can you guys play Cuban Pete? They're like, any requests? I'm like, yeah, Cuban Pete. And they're like, what? And I'm like, Cuban Pete, chick chicky boom chick chicky. And they're like, we have no idea what you're talking about.
We can play Guantanamera. Have you heard
Isn't
that one?
that kind of like
Yeah.
going to Japan and requesting Mr. Roboto?
Yeah,
Like,
A little
maybe.
bit.
They're like, we'll do Over the Rainbow. That was one when we went to Hawaii. It was just nothing but Over the Rainbow.
Over the Rainbow.
Over and over and over.
Kawele, or whatever his name is.
They had that hero that used to have to get loaded onto the stage with a forklift.
Who knew that getting your body weight up to like 800 pounds would cut your life short?
Yeah.
Couldn't have called that one.
But he
Stop
had the
shaming,
voice of an
Elliot.
angel, though.
Great voice. Yeah.
Beautiful voice.
So I think we should preface it by saying, yeah, there's a lot of things that are wrong in Cuba.
How big is Cuba? Like, how long would it
About,
take to
like,
drive from
it's
one
like a
end to the other?
It's like about as long as Florida.
It's
About
a
Florida
sideways
size?
border.
All right.
It's like how in the future Florida will either break or get
like,
sawed off by the by United States of America and float down. It's
Bump
like
into
someone
Cuba.
did that in the.
It'll be reunited.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the culture shock aspect of it was pretty huge.
Yeah.
Okay, so like my biggest takeaway, the
Yeah.
TLDR version of it that I got out of the trip was like, yeah, it turns out like Cold War America was only telling half of the
Yeah.
story. We were kind of getting the footnotes from the U.S. government's sort of policies against the communist world. I mean, obviously, not the best place to live, but our history books conveniently leave out like all the good things that happened there after the revolution,
Yeah.
like the healthcare, the education, like putting everyone to work.
Everyone gets healthcare. Everyone gets food. Everyone gets housing. That's like the. It's not a communist country anymore. We learned it's a socialist republic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We spoke with people, like people on the streets. We spoke with professors, local professors. I think the most eye-opening was I was speaking with, I forget her name, but she's like around our age and a bit more anti-Cuba policy. Everyone else was kind of like okay with it, and like she's like the type of person that's like I can't wait to move to the United States. Like I love being able to go get Starbucks. I love being able to have Wi-Fi everywhere.
Is there
It's like,
no Starbucks at all?
There's no
No.
chain business.
nothing.
And also
Oh.
advertising is illegal, which was kind of refreshing.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's
wow.
no fucking ads anywhere.
Also, the fact
except
that
for a
there
few
was-
billboards that are like,
So
the
why?
spirit of Fidel lives on inside
Yeah,
of us.
yeah.
Why is that? Is it because of the whole?
I don't.
They're just
Well,
the
so for the
communism
actual-
is anti-commercialism, anti-capitalism,
Right,
so that's a big
anti-capitalism,
part of it.
yeah.
Yeah, there's not like the typical Cuban people aren't like, oh, let me go get a Starbucks. It's like, well, I have a ration card for the food that I need to live with, and if I have a job, I think it's like the average is $30 a month they get paid, aside from the necessities like housing and all that stuff. So it was weird on like the last like there. I was like, well, I did start asking some questions like, well, I see a lot of people just like out, enjoying their day, like walking around, but like how are the jobs here? And she was like, well, there's not really jobs. Like 75% or something of the population just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like you see like the other population, part of the population that works, they run farms or they're in the service industry for tourism.
Also, like
And-
the
There's a lot of
police is like
tourism there,
20% of the pop.
Yeah,
there
yeah, yeah.
are more cops just hanging out.
They were at one point we had like the military police filming us.
Yeah.
So that was
just
a little unsettling.
checking, make sure we're not doing anything bad.
Were
But
you
it-
running around with cameras? Is
Yeah,
that...
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it was weird too because this part of talking about it makes it sound a little weird and sad, but that's the thing is like when you go to these countries, it's like we did see some of the plight and not like the poverty and stuff like that, but when you go on these trips, it's like, hey, we're gonna show you the best part of Cuba. So it's really
Right.
hard for us to come here and say everything's fine.
I don't know. Like, we didn't see the like really tourist part until the last day.
The
like,
last day was the-
historic
yeah.
Havana. Up until that point, like they were taking us around. So the trip was for Fate of the Furious, the home video release. They were taking us around to like the route of that car race, which went through a lot of just like
Bad
typical-
neighborhoods.
Yeah, kind of like
Well, not bad, but
yeah. Well,
Right.
The infrastructure is crumbling. Let's
Yeah.
just say it. The infrastructure there is crumbling. The buildings are falling apart. You'll walk and there'll be like 2 buildings, and then in the middle of it, it'll just be rubble. And it's the reality of it.
One weird thing that like struck me was like so these neighborhoods, it reminds you of like, you know, going to any major city in Mexico and walking around the back streets and shit. It's poverty, and your natural inclination is to be worried for your safety. But that's
Cuba,
not a concern there.
Not
like,
crime.
Yeah, they don't have like petty crime.
It was weird because in a lot of countries that we visited, especially when we go in a group like this, they're like, hey, if you go somewhere, please let everyone know where you're going, and, you know, bring some people with you, or just like, hey, be careful if you go to this, and this.
Right.
In Cuba, like, we were in a part of town that like wasn't a very touristy part of town, and they were just like, all right, you guys want to walk back to the hotel? That's fine.
Yeah, and the only
no one gave a shit. They were just like, nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah, the only
they all get their food cards. They don't feel like the need.
Well, everyone sort of has the same thing, but yeah, that's the rub.
Yeah, the only danger is you're not gonna get robbed, but you're gonna get ripped off if you're not like careful about it.
Right.
I was gonna say the rub
it's got a
offering
huge
shit.
touristy thing. It's
For now.
Like the main trick is like, hey, like you want some home rolled Cuban cigars, like totally authentic, way cheap, but like half the time or more, it's just full of like newspaper and hair.
Yeah.
Like
I was gonna say the reason that there's no crime is because they live in a police state, which is a little sad.
Cops everywhere.
Yeah. It's like no one's gonna fuck with you because they'll probably get thrown in jail forever.
So would you say it's working or it's not?
I can't make that call. It looks like things were going a bit better since the U.S. kind of rolled back.
No, that's
stuff.
what everyone said. Things have gotten
all of the locals
a lot better
agreed.
Since then. But that's
done now.
Yeah. I think it's sort of a chicken and egg thing where the U.S. government in 1959 was like, communism is bad, it'll never work, and therefore we're going to do a full trade embargo with this country to ensure that it never works. So it's like, who can say how prosperous they would be if they hadn't had 55 years of being unable to trade with the biggest neighboring country?
Yes, but they were dealing with the Soviets. They did have Soviet missiles. I understand why
even that story, we let our history books leave out the fact that the whole reason that fucking happened. So Cuba has a revolution. We tell them to fuck off because all of our businesses there got taken away, even though they were exploiting everyone.
They had a president named Batista.
Yeah.
But then the U.S. goes.
So that's why they hate Guardians of the Galaxy.
The U.S. goes and installs a nuclear weapons silo in Turkey shortly after that, with missiles pointed straight at the Soviet Union. And the Soviet Union's like, oh, well, two can play at that game. And they install missile silos in Cuba. And Cuba's like, hey, well, any friend who's willing to reach out at this point, that would be great because we can't buy anything right now. We're sort of broke. So it's a little more understandable.
So Fidel, Raul, and Che come over on a boat from Mexico to
and this boat is in a glass case.
They keep it in the middle of town in a glass case. And
I didn't know any of this.
Yeah,
I'm not great with history. I will say that.
But that's the thing.
So they
we
came
don't
over
learn
to
a lot
liberate it,
about
and
this.
they overthrew the government, and they were like giving back to the people because it was like turning into like straight up like capitalist society, and it's like that was the main takeaway was that in the past 2 years since the embargo was rolled back and that tourism could happen from the United States, they said in the last 2 years. Their tourism had like jumped by like 400%. They've been actively revitalizing, especially the historic district. You go there and everything is under construction for like revitalizing it and reinforcing it and refurbishing it.
The Capitol building looked like it was built today.
Yeah,
they're crazy. It was spotless.
They're currently like revitalizing that area because of the tourism dollars, and also it's like. Yeah, there are a lot of people that just have the necessities, and then there are people that get the government salaries. When we talked to him, he was like, "Yeah, it used to be that like a doctor made as much as a bricklayer, but it's not like that anymore.
Right.
We pay for quality work and quality jobs that are harder. Like engineers will make more." And they were saying that the biggest boon to the economy was tourism because I was talking to someone who said their like neighbors that they grew up next to had been saving money their entire lives, and when the restrictions were rolled back, they made a restaurant out of their house, and now they're terrified that they're going to lose everything because of the restrictions that Trump's putting in place. And everyone's like, oh, he's not actually doing a travel ban. But he kind of is, because the rule is that you can't stay at a hotel that is owned by the government, which is every fucking hotel.
Right.
Yeah.
The only thing you'll be able to do is like day excursions on like a cruise ship or something.
And when does that
90 days.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Yeah, everyone there was saying just, I mean, regardless of whether you agree with the political system, it's just a giant step backward. It doesn't really benefit anyone. And it's fucking hypocritical too. If we're gonna be like best buds with China just because they have something to offer us, it's kind of ridiculous if you treat Cuba like, oh, they're this massive threat. It's like, no,
it's also
not really.
Yeah, and it's also like their like goal was that maybe the like, and they keep calling it like the dictator regime, brutal dictator Raul Castro. They're like, oh well, he needs to treat his people better, and it's like, man, I mean, you literally just are rolling back their biggest financial boon to like the economy that could potentially do that.
Right.
In order to punish them, because you're literally just chipping away at Obama's legacy.
It'll be interesting though, because I read somewhere that I mean, Raul's old as shit too.
Yeah,
and apparently he's not planning to run for re-election.
No, he's done at the end. They have to choose someone. I think they have to choose someone either next year or it starts next year. He's not going back into power.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. Like, that'll probably come with a lot of changes. I think like the Castro legacy has been like Fidel just managed to live long as fuck. Yeah. Despite like smoking 10 cigars a day and having constant assassination attempts.
Well, when you're on island time,
unstoppable.
When you're on island time, it's a lot different. And we'll talk about island time.
But yeah, like I think once all the people involved in the original revolution are like dead and gone, it'll be a lot easier for them to be like, hey, maybe we make some changes here.
Well, also
maybe we're loosen things up.
Yeah, I also think that things have happened a certain way for the past 2 years there that they're going to want to do whatever they want to get that back. And I think that like they have already workarounds in place. It's like it's technically you can go there. You fly to Mexico first and then you fly in. They don't stamp your passport. You spend cash because you can't not spend cash anyway. There's no ATMs or.
I technically never returned from Cuba because they did not do an exit stamp.
Yeah,
they only gave me
I'm still
entry
there.
Stamp,
both in mind and apparently physical body. But. Yeah, aside from the political stuff, we had a great time there.
Were there a lot of other American tourists other than like the...
A lot of Americans, a lot of Germans. Germans apparently fucking love Cuba.
Huh.
And a lot of Chinese tourists.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had... there was like one article I read about the how the cohibas are becoming harder and harder to keep in stock because... tourists, specifically Chinese tourists, because their money is worth so much, even compared to the U.S., they'll come in and just spend like $25,000 on Cuban cigars and just wipe out entire stores.
Fill a suitcase with it.
Yeah. That was like in their like local like.
Can you even travel with that many cigars? Like
to other countries?
China?
Yeah, it's only like U.S. has the sanctions. It's like.
Oh, that's funny.
But
you can buy Cuban cigars in every other country in the world.
Yeah.
Huh.
They're not a rarity except for us.
The other thing that's like the obvious thing that we should talk about is that, they kind of stopped selling cars in 1958 or whatever.
Yeah,
so
I was going to ask about that.
Car there, I mean, it has improved. You will see
a lot of like Chinese and Russian like.
There's like Pugots or whatever.
I saw some Toyotas.
Yeah, there are, but you don't see those cars very often.
Mm-hmm.
You do see a ton of cars from the 40s and 50s
that's cool.
just everywhere.
Yeah, and it's pretty incredible. Like.
It's one thing to talk about it, but when you're there and you're like, I'm seeing, like, I saw like 30, 57 Chevys today. Like, not in perfect condition, obviously, because they're old, but like, they look damn good.
That's the thing about those old cars, too, is like, aside from the bodywork, the way they work, the engine, transmission, all of that, like, you can keep just fixing it and replacing parts like forever. Well, they don't run very efficiently, but you can make them run forever.
Yeah, there was one of the guys asked because he was in, I think, a Plymouth Skyline or something. I can't remember what the actual car was called, and I sound like an idiot to anyone that likes cars. But they're like, oh, is it the original motor? And he's like, no, it's a Toyota motor.
Yeah,
like they just take the other motors out and put a new car.
Frankenstein them.
Yeah.
And that's a trend for just the way the whole country works. Is like they don't have access to a lot of raw materials or anything, so everything's like a lot of repurposing. Like we went to that one really cool like art gallery bar place, and it was like mostly made out of shipping containers and
we went to a really cool like it was basically a gigantic club, and part of it was in an old like mill, and then we went to like the VIP area, and the whole VIP area was just made out of shipping containers. But it was
that's
super
cool.
nice inside. It was like painted white and had like cool lighting and it was air conditioned. And it's like, I can't think of a better seal than just complete like steel
Yeah.
and with like doors and everything.
That place
that's
felt
cool.
like it felt like the. Have you ever been to like the Brewery Arts Complex?
Yeah.
It was like something like that, but like way cooler.
It was kind of like Angel City if you've been there, but
Oh,
like
yeah.
even cooler
Yeah.
than that. They had a whole room that was a giant movie theater, and they were playing, but open air.
Playing Thriller.
Yeah, they're playing 80s music videos. I remember when I was walking out. I have a video of it. Maybe I'll show it on the podcast. I'll put it on my phone. But I was walking out, and I was like, I have to take a video of this because no one would believe that this is Cuba if you showed it to someone.
Right.
And yeah, it's just like a lot of the places we ate at had like incredible food. Again, the typical Cuban person isn't going to eat there because it costs the same amount to them. It's for tourists and the people that like run them though, they all like run them out of their houses. But we were talking to the professor guy and he's like, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Cuban millionaires now.
Yeah, I mean the rule is basically you give half of everything to the government, but if you're getting enough customers, you can get pretty rich off of that. The restaurants we all ate at were technically homes that had been turned into restaurants. And like we ate at one that apparently like Jay-Z and Beyonce had eaten at on their trip there, and that place was nice. That was like one of the best restaurants I've ever eaten at.
There was the story was that Beyonce wanted to have a party, but they didn't have enough room, and then Beyonce was like, "All right, oh well," and they were like, "No, wait," and they like redid their entire roof to house enough people to where she would do the party there.
Wow.
Yeah,
that place was great. Like
That's
apparently
awesome.
the chef was from Spain. So like they're at least in the food industry, they're attracting talent from like around the world and making it worth their time.
It's super touristy. I'm kind of curious. Do they have things for people like have they started accommodating people who have like gluten-free stuff? Like was
No,
there's
you're
nothing
fucked.
like
Yeah.
that.
No,
I'm
you're
not
screwed.
gluten-free. I'm not that.
Yeah, no, they'd
I'm not
be like,
that guy,
what are
but-
you doing? You're in fucking Cuba.
Right.
Yeah.
Bring your own food.
No, like
Because I feel like in so many touristy
Bring
areas
some
I've been to,
Soylent
they're
or
like,
whatever.
oh, we gotta do the thing. We gotta have a new menu for all.
No,
these
it says
other
look down
No.
upon us here, but no one will accommodate you there.
yeah, and it's kind of crazy. Yeah, like it's attracting a lot of tourists, but it's like it aside from restaurants and old places to go to and like tour groups, not a whole lot of like tourism infrastructure. Like
It is a time capsule of that era still.
Right.
yeah, like you still have to show up with a lot of your own necessities.
Yeah, which was a
Like-
mistake we found out about as soon as we got
Oh,
there because we were like,
God.
we had heard like these stories like, oh, I mean, you can't like bring this much in, or you're gonna want to do the money this way, or blah blah blah. And we get there, and like the first thing is like, well, we didn't bring any money because we didn't want to bring in like $500 American and like be like, okay, well, we're gonna get that seized or something. But then we
Right.
get there, and they're like, oh, there's no such thing as credit cards or debit cards.
Well,
And so
not
we're just
for
like,
Americans.
shit.
Well, they have ATMs, but I tried to like use it, and it was just like immediately declined.
Yeah, no, if you're from anywhere else in the world, it works. It's the whole reason is because the U.S. banking institutions
They won't work
They
with it, yeah.
refuse to take the risk of like putting the time and effort into
Because
making
they'll get
deals.
audited and
Yeah,
stuff.
they don't want the trouble.
So we had no money. We had to keep borrowing money from like the reps.
Yeah,
To the point where we started calling one of them Genmo.
yeah.
And the other thing was like, hey, make sure you come to all the meals because there's literally no snacks.
Yeah, they don't have
There's no
like
snacks.
convenience
Like,
stores.
there's no, like,
Oh.
Chips or
you can buy fruit on the street pretty much anywhere, and then the fruit is damn good.
Is it?
Those
Does that make-
plantains are so delicious.
We
I was
did,
gonna ask
uh,
about the plantains.
So
when we were
good.
shooting one of the segments.
That's all I know about Cuban food is plantains.
You can fry them. You can
Yeah.
get them off the tree,
It was great.
plantains and everything.
We were in this one spot where we were filming for a bit, and like there was a bunch of kids around. So like pulled out playing cards and started doing magic tricks for them. They were just like, oh, like
That
what?
one kid was just like,
He was like,
wait, hold on, come here. Let me have a look at that.
So I was showing them tricks. I taught them a trick. I gave them the cards, and they were like so stoked. And the other person with us had M&Ms, and like went up to the kid's parent that was around and was just like, "Hey, can I give this to him?" They're like, "Yeah, sure." And they were just like huddled around, like, "Oh my god, M&Ms!" Like, or like they had
Yeah.
never seen them before or whatever. And it was like made me wish that I had brought a bunch of stuff with me.
Yeah,
Like,
if you
I could
ever
have
go to
brought 12
Cuba-
fidget spinners with me and just taken over the island with
Yeah.
fidget spinners, and I would have ruined the whole country.
Yeah, yeah. If you ever go there, just bring like a box of like shit, like clothes that you would
Yeah.
give a Goodwill or anything. Like, yeah, people there, they kind of just like everything is secondhand, everything is repurposed.
Apparently like an entire black market. That's why you see people wearing like Armani and stuff
Yeah.
sometimes, even though it's like probably knockoff. But there is a black market. Apparently, maybe I should cut this out.
Hey guys, just a quick break to let you know that in today's show we have a paid promotion by Audible. Go to audible.com and have a look at their selection of audiobooks narrated by many of your favorite actors. Here's a recommendation. The Handmaid's Tale Special Edition. It's a new reading of the classic dystopian novel by Margaret Atwood, read by Claire Danes and featuring additional material added specifically for this release. The Handmaid's Tale was recently turned into a series for Hulu, which I'm a big fan of, so if you've seen the show and want some more insight into the story, or if you haven't seen the show and want to read the book first, check out the audiobook at Audible and get transported to a totally different dystopian world. Head over to audible.com/ETC and you'll be able to start a 30-day trial on Audible with your first audiobook for free. After the first 30 days, you will be automatically charged $14.95. You can cancel anytime though. Again, that is audible.com/ETC. And now, back to the podcast.
But yeah, it was cool seeing that kind of thing where you like provide someone with something that just seems so ordinary to you, but is like has made their whole day.
Right.
We were talking like I'm gonna go back in like 20 years, and that kid's gonna be like a magician on the island or something.
Yeah.
Like, hey, like working at a hotel, just like doing a nightly show or something.
Can you imagine bringing them Game Boys? Can you imagine like
they would lose their goddamn
the
mind.
3DS,
Yeah, I had the
seeing
Switch. I should have brought the
3D?
Switch out.
Oh
And been
my
like, that
God.
shit's garbage. Not even a real console.
Speaking of which, sort of, so they're like, most people don't even have like, aside from antenna, they don't have like access to cable or anything like that, or like entertainment in general. So like, there's a group of pirates on the island that every week they download like 10 gigs of international TV and movies and news and all this stuff. They put them on a bunch of thumb drives, and then they just pass them out, and you copy everything for the week and give it to the next person.
So do they
they get like all the TV and movies that they want.
Do a lot of them have computers and phones and
Yeah,
stuff?
probably like basic laptops
Yeah.
and shit.
Yeah, there's certain people, and then like they probably have like whatever the cheapest laptop is, maybe for like an entire family. But that was the thing. Was,
Yeah.
like, we were like, fuck, we should have loaded up all of our episodes, and then we would have been like
Just put it on a
celebrities.
bench
We
somewhere.
would have been like celebrities
Oh,
in
shit.
Cuba because they're just like, I mean, it's the
That's
only
what
thing
we
can
gotta
watch
watch.
right now.
Yeah.
All right.
I was thinking about like Letterkenny too. Just put Letterkenny on it, and just like all of a sudden, this Canadian redneck show is the biggest thing in Cuba. But
That's not a terrible idea.
yeah, as far as like the rest of the stuff, we did a tour of like the historic district where all the buildings are like very colonial.
Yeah, it was like, I didn't realize how
it looked
old
just
the
like
colony
Europe.
was.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it felt like you
France.
were walking through Spain or France.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how old. I didn't realize it was settled in like the 1500s.
Yeah, and they
Oh,
had
that
like the
old
original
fort.
forts from
Yeah.
them.
Oh,
yeah.
wow. That's cool.
Yeah, and God, it felt so good to not be at E3 during all this and just like
The whole time
check
I was just
Twitter
like, wow,
once
this
a day
is
and be
great.
like, okay.
Oh, cool. Yeah, this
Yeah.
came out. This came out. Some
Everyone's
girl went
complaining about
missing,
how it
yeah.
sucks.
It
Who
was
would've
a
guessed?
real rough year this year.
Yeah, who would have guessed that E3 would be disappointing?
Luckily,
Oh,
on the
boy.
last night, we had that glorious story about the girl missing, and then just being like, I was playing poker. And
Oh my
then,
God.
yeah,
That was
all the
such a
twists
shit
and the
show.
turns
That
and
was
the
such a shit
the
show
drama.
on Twitter.
Yeah.
God, you
But,
can't even turn off your fucking phone for a night, and then everyone's like, "Where the fuck were you? Why aren't you like tweeting about your
Well,
safety?"
she missed her panel though.
that
she
was
missed
the
a panel, or
Yeah.
did
she
she
missed
miss?
a panel or something.
Yeah, and she didn't tell like her husband
I
slash
thought she just
boyfriend
missed
where
like
she
a
was.
party or something.
I don't know.
No, she was last seen at the party. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
It's a whole thing. But yeah, probably would have
The
made
whole
me
ordeal.
worried too. But it was so funny seeing the instant snap judgment of being
Oh,
like,
yeah,
from
like,
white
oh,
knighting to
yeah,
shaming.
yeah.
Like it was like, boom.
Yeah,
Like
instantly.
Yeah.
if you like, yeah, it was
Really brought out the worst of
Oh,
everyone.
it brought out the
Yeah.
worst of the entire community
Yeah,
on both sides. It was
rough.
gnarly.
It was rough to watch.
So since we missed E3, except for like, I mean, we would like look up headlines. Oh, that's another thing. Wi-Fi just doesn't exist.
Doesn't work.
It was very cool, actually. You know, it was nice being disconnected from your phone. I mean, I was gone for 20 hours.
I was
but
worried
just
about you. I
disconnected.
was like, "Where'd Ricky go?"
They give you like these little paper packets that have codes in them
Mm-hmm.
for a certain amount of time.
The state-controlled Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's bad.
That's weird. I
and
don't
they only
like
have
that.
it in like
Yeah.
you like bus stops have like a
There's
Wi-Fi thing,
these
but you get like
hubs.
the people there get like scratch off, like they scratch off and like have a code and it works for like 15 minutes.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our hotel had decent
great
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi,
yeah.
I could watch like
Surprised.
YouTube videos on it.
So what happened at E3?
Well, it was open to the public, so that
Rest
was
in peace.
that's the
Normies,
first thing that
get
I
out.
noticed. Yeah, no, exactly. Like, we're all these fucking normies. It was impossible. It was just so impossible to get around. It smelled very bad.
Yeah.
Oh,
And there was
E3 always smells like pretty decent.
Because people want to dress up. GDC is the best because people are trying to get jobs, so they shower properly every day, and it's great. Everyone's dressed up and nice.
At E3, it's like, oh, we're industry professionals. I should cake on the Jupe cologne before I go out.
But this was
got my
rough.
Agua di Gio.
Like it was, I've been to hundreds of conventions, and you're like pushing through people, and you're fine with it. I was not prepared for this.
Yeah,
like it was rough. And then if you wanted to see a game,
sounds like Cuba.
So just swampy.
Well, it was
so
swampy.
humid inside.
It was very swampy, and so typically E3 is all media, right? So you go to a booth and they're like, yes, come play our game.
They want your attention.
Yeah, they let you go ahead of the developers, right?
Yeah.
Because you have to make your appointments and stuff. I had to wait 40 minutes to see an Ubisoft game because all of the booths were for the public except for 4 little tiny computers. So it's fine, but it just kind of fucks the whole flow of everything. You're like and it's impossible to get to the booth that you want to get to, and then people are stopping other people and trying to take pictures of them, and then you have to get around. It's just kind of crazy. It wasn't my favorite thing, but at least people got to see it. I remember when I first went to E3, like I was a booth babe to get into that fucking show.
Yeah.
I was so desperate to see
more
what E3
booth
was.
babes allowed.
I promoted a game called Strippers on the
What?
iPhone, and I wore a little pink shirt, strip PRs. It was my friend's game, and so I was like, all right, I'll do this. And it was outside of the convention center.
What was the game
I still
about?
didn't even fucking get to go into the convention.
What was the game about?
I don't know.
Can we play it on party time?
Yeah.
I don't know if it had a life. I think it was.
It came out exclusively on the Ouya.
Yeah, it might have been executed before it had a chance. But yeah, I mean, I really that was the special thing when I finally got into E3 the year after using somebody else's badge. Like it was the best thing that I'd ever seen. I was like,
I
this
liked
is
my first
fucking
year.
amazing. Yeah.
Every first time I went to a convention was great.
Yes.
And then the fun just
It kind of
melts
slowly
away.
goes away, but you get used to it, right? You're like, okay, we go do E3.
I don't think I did it.
Nah.
I don't know if I went even on the show floor last year, but I remember the year before.
No, I didn't go last year.
We filmed something really quick on site for Tugs, and then I did one lap and left. And I was like, cool, I saw the Doom thing. I saw the Fallout Pip-Boy.
Yeah.
I went to Nintendo and saw whatever they were doing at the
I
time.
didn't go last year. The year before, I was on vacation in Europe, so I haven't gone in like 3 years.
Yeah.
It's great.
When you're doing the game stuff, like you actually have to go to all the different booths and see what the best games are. And this year was not like it wasn't great.
Well, I don't think they were prepped for the public offering yet.
They
hadn't done that before. Like when you go to PAX, it's like, yeah, I mean it's packed, but they have systems in place to where it's doable.
Yeah.
For the industry people that are going to cover it.
A lot of consoles set up for.
Yeah, they've prepped for it.
Yes.
Plus, by then, it's like most of these games are actually playable, or they have they have alphas or betas, so they're not trying to like behind closed doors. And...
There wasn't a lot of playable stuff on the floor this year. They actually, I think what's funny is the booths were really nice this year, like because they were like, okay, the public's coming, we got to make it look really nice.
you can put lipstick on a pig.
They had. They had a whole diner for Wolfenstein, like a walk-in diner, and they were serving milkshakes with little whipped cream and stuff. So that was cool, but like ultimately there was no big announcement this year. I'm trying to even think right now. Like Anthem looks kind of cool, I guess. Like Anthem looks good, the new BioWare.
But you can play as a woman of color in Call of Duty World War II.
And history has been erased.
Isn't that the biggest announcement ever?
History has been erased.
Yeah, Call of Duty ruined history.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe because the best part was that I saw this like hours after it was announced on the Wi-Fi, and I'm just like, whoa, wait, what are people like? It was people had finally
were very upset.
Yeah, they hadn't had the chance to like calm down yet, or like even think about rational thought. So it's still just like.
Yeah, like that, if you watch any of the streams for all of the conferences, man, the chat's just oh god, it's a horrible, horrible place.
People are complaining about the lack of realism.
They didn't put swastikas in multiplayer.
Yeah.
Really? Is that like what you're
also,
like, you can do 360 no scopes.
Play Wolfenstein.
It would be great to have swastikas in
There's tons of
multiplayer,
those,
but the fucking like alt-right dickheads in multiplayer ruin that shit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it'll be everyone's emblem anyway.
Yeah.
But the thing is like the reason that they did it, and I'm just, I guess, projecting as if I'm the CEO of Activision, is, hey, what's the game that they play for esports? What's the game that everyone captures to put on YouTube? Like, do you really think that fucking like gigantic Call of Duty esports tournaments are going to watch swastikas on the screen when people are sponsoring the goddamn event? Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, that's the most obvious fucking thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, hey, by the way, we're doing World War II. Hey, Doritos, What do you think about sponsoring our tournament? I don't know, guys. There's a lot of swastikas in it.
Also, like, yeah, the whole like race gender thing. Like, I like aside from the social justice aspect of it entirely. Yeah. Like, what's wrong with a multiplayer game where you can actually tell your teammates apart because they've customized their appearance and everything? Like, that seems like it would help.
Well, Elliot also said, like, behind closed doors, he was like, I can't wait to play as a female character in the game so that all the dudes help me out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
they're like white knighting him through the entire
guys,
match.
I need some help.
Walk around naked in battlegrounds. Like, please don't shoot me.
TV, I don't know how to play this. Can you guys like
just carry me, please?
You guys give me some loot boxes?
Yeah.
I got you, son.
Well, it's just weird. People are like mad about that shit when I'm like, dude, Call of Duty was in space last year.
Yeah.
Like, it's not.
You get fucking kill
historical
streaks.
accuracy. Play Battlefield.
You rise from the dead. There's zombies. And apparently, like, there's a World War II series that already exists. It's like, it's not Arma, but it's something similar to that, where like complete realism, like you can't even tell how many bullets are in your clip. You have to like shake it and it says like half full, half empty. Like the game that these people are demanding already exists, but no one plays it because realism isn't very fun.
And it's hard.
Yeah, and it's really hard.
Real hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was like the funniest thing I saw, just like the complete outrage for something that is just like, hey, put yourself in the shoes of a normal person.
Yeah.
And think like rationally at all. That's the one thing I was just like immediately like, well, duh. Like fucking Mountain Dew doesn't want swastikas with their logo next to it.
People just like to find things to get mad about.
Well, what other big announcements were there?
God, I don't know.
Wolfenstein looks fucking great.
Wolfenstein's gonna be great. I love Wolfenstein.
That last two I
and
loved.
Evil Within was actually really good. I think that was kind of an underrated
My
game.
big thing was that they're doing Rocket League on the Switch.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Love that. I think the Mario thing looks
all the
dumb.
Nintendos.
Mario,
I don't know.
It looks cool, but like it was so funny that it was just like I loved the memes from it. It's
putting
like
the hat on stuff.
You put the hat on the frog. Now you're the frog.
I watched more videos of it, and I really want to play it now.
It
looks
fun.
fucking nuts.
I played it for a minute. It was fun. I mean, the weird thing is, I feel like, and I'm gonna get in a lot of trouble for this, but a lot of Nintendo's games just are 3D platformers now, and a lot of them just look the same. And I remember playing Mario 64 when I was a kid.
I didn't like Mario 64 when I was. That was like my least favorite.
Which is weird because
I
think you're wrong. Because like that game was atmospheric, right?
Yeah.
That was bringing something to Nintendo like that had never been there before. Which was like you go on the water levels and the monsters and the music, like it was all just like. And now you're like walking through New Donk or whatever it's called. What is it called?
Well, it looks like that's just gonna be like your home base or whatever, right? Because there's a bunch of fantasy lands like.
And that's cool too, but it's just there's something, it's the camera's way back here. It's not really immersive. I just miss the immersive Mario games. That's just so that's.
Well, that's another thing. Like
nitpicking.
they didn't say anything about the virtual console, but they kind of have already with the subscription fees and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, I really would like. I mean, I think that game is probably gonna be fine. Mm-hmm. But I'll also be really happy when I can play Super Mario 3 on there.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm really like waiting for is like Super Mario World 2, like the SNES one, but like number 2. If they do a side-scrolling Mario like that's like new and innovative, I think that'd be really cool. I'm not as big of a fan as those 3D or like the 3D world kind of
like
open
Yoshi
space ones.
And Kirby.
Yeah,
and
I always just feel like, and I guess this is just my personality, but I always feel like I don't like exploring. I always feel like I'm getting lost. I'm like, what the fuck is the objective here?
I love that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to explore too.
Yeah.
I
But Rocket League though.
And then I was bummed that they didn't do Animal Crossing. Like I knew that wasn't going to happen because they're doing the mobile game, but like I really want another Animal Crossing.
They have apparently, I don't know when it's going to come out. I think the last time I checked it said maybe August, but Stardew Valley.
I'm excited about Stardew Valley on the Switch.
ARMS just came out. I haven't played that yet, but I want to play it on Party Time at some point because you actually have to punch.
It's like Punch Out.
Yeah. And then I think like I heard PlayStation was kind of like they didn't do like Last of Us 2 or anything.
There's that PSVR
Red Dead yet.
The PSVR esports game that's basically Rocket League but like dodgeball version.
I mean, I walked away from the conferences a couple times to just get snacks.
Yeah, there's like the
there's
new
nothing
Xbox,
happening here. Like there was nothing. Ori looks good. Xbox was like, we've got 5,000 games we're going to show you right now.
So many teraflops.
So many exclusives. And like I'm an Xbox fangirl, so I back them because that was my first proper.
But there was nothing like
next gen
boom,
console. But
fucking
no, there was
like
like they knew that they were supposed to be the games guys this year, and they just didn't quite. There was nothing that really grabbed me. And PlayStation has all the games this year, right? They've got Spider-Man, they've got Days Gone, they've got Last of Us, they've got Uncharted, Lost Legacy or whatever.
No Last of Us though at E3. What's up with that?
There wasn't anything from Last of Us. I don't know. It was
This
just
thing
kind
just
of
doesn't seem like it was
a
as
bum
like
year.
there wasn't as many announcements. Like a lot of the stuff they're
No.
talking about, people either knew it was coming or have already seen something about it. Like
Yeah.
Spider-Man is like we kind of seen like
Yeah.
the gameplay videos and
And,
stuff.
and Bethesda had, they had Evil Within, and what was they were like Skyrim on every other console. And we're like,
Ugh.
but Skyrim turns out the new one or the next Elder Scrolls, it's not even in development yet. They're not
Jesus.
even touching it.
Yeah, they're a real lazy studio.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. They just took Skyrim and they're running with it. And that's,
Well, and
that's
then like Fallout VR, Skyrim VR,
Which I
But,
like,
like,
Skyrim
why-
for the Switch where you can like hit people like that or
and
whatever.
like that's what Valve's doing too. They're just focusing on VR, which is such a bummer because they make such good games.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to go back and replay Fallout in
I mean, I might.
VR. I mean, I will do it, but
Yeah.
not for longer than maybe a couple days, you know?
Yeah, I read some reviews of people who actually did hands-on Fallout in VR, and it's just like,
How do you
It's
move?
all right.
How do you move
You
in it?
teleport.
yeah,
I played
yeah.
it, and it's cool
Well,
because
that's
you're
gonna
like,
suck
oh,
when you
there's
accidentally
fucking
teleport
dog meat.
right into
There's-
something's face and it kills you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a death claw or whatever. It's just like, oh, open the door. Oh, I'm being attacked right now, and in my head it's giving
Yeah.
me sick or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like
How about
instead of
Skyrim? You can teleport as
retrofitting
well?
that game,
Yeah.
instead of going and retrofitting all of these fucking games for VR, like make a new experience for VR, right? Something that's new instead of they haven't, there's
Yeah.
nothing.
The teleporting kind of rubs me the wrong way.
You get used to it
It's
after a
'cause,
while.
like-
It's not too bad because you'll teleport and then, you can
around
choose where
and-
you're facing too. So if you get used to that sort of control,
Well, you're supposed to like look around to see where you're facing, right?
yeah, but like if you want to teleport in front of an enemy, I think you can. I played this last year, so I could be wrong, but I think you can move your teleport so like you
Oh.
face the direction you want to go.
We'll see.
So you can teleport and just shoot the guy. I don't know.
So, what out of 10? Pretend we're IGN and rate it.
If we're IGN, 9 out
9.
of 10. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, okay.
But if
Pretend
we're
we're any-
talking
pretend we're
about
anyone
One of the best E3s
Hey, you
of
see
all
the
yeah, it
fucking
was
drama
absolutely
with them
great.
and Steven Suptic?
no.
They
No.
literally copied his vlog style, like
Oh.
shot for shot, like going to black and white, doing the narration, doing the subtitles and all that stuff, like shot for
Oh,
shot.
no.
He like called him out for it, and like people are understandably pissed.
Well, yeah, that's not cool.
Yeah,
Well, it's a successful
He has a very
thing.
distinctive style.
Yeah,
You can't just rip that off.
it won't be
Yeah.
distinctive in another
yeah. It's
year
like
though.
if they would have just put like Suptic parody or whatever like
Yeah.
behind it, they'd have been different. But,
Yeah.
How
How were the parties?
Parties were great.
Yeah,
I
they're
was
always
super
good.
excited. Machinima party. It
Because
was
the
great.
normies aren't allowed in the parties.
No. Yeah, well, I mean,
you go
I
to
mostly
Twitch?
did. No, I didn't do Twitch. Twitch is fun, but it's usually just like,
Packed.
yeah, it's
You
really
get
packed.
kidnapped and taken to a casino if you go to
Oh,
Twitch
I did the
party.
Battlegrounds party. Shit, that was great because it was a Battlegrounds mixer. So I thought it was gonna be like a bunch of nerds sitting around going like, "Hey, did you guys get chicken dinner this week?" Like, oh, yeah. It was like, oh,
Hey, you need me to walk you
Dossiers.
through
Oh,
this
yeah,
map?
Yeah, pans. Like I thought it was gonna be like that, but it was like a proper party in this really cool sort of warehouse thing, and they had a dossier. It wasn't a real dossier. It was like some sort of dossier. They had. I mean, they spent a lot of money, and it was really nice. And they had a 360 camera, which I broke accidentally. I wasn't even drunk, so I had no excuse. Like it was Brandon and I. He pretends to shoot me, and I go. I'll show you guys the video. It's a good.
Yeah.
The whole video.
How much did that set you back?
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh god, and they were totally fine about it. It wasn't like properly
rich.
broken. Yeah,
It's fine.
It just
This
got
game
knocked
looks
onto
like
the
shit and
floor.
it's selling like hotcakes. We're fine.
And I met Brendan Green, senpai,
Mm-hmm.
who's really great. He's super sweet.
Did Brandon have sex?
Not that I'm aware of, but maybe next year we'll see.
Did you
how
guys do
that
the
works out.
dating thing this time?
No, we don't do the dating thing anymore.
It's
because
sad. It's
we're
one of
not,
my favorite pieces.
Thank you. We get like stopped at cons and they're like, hey, Brandon, you have a girlfriend yet?
Hey, Brandon.
I just like fucked him for like the next
Yeah.
couple years. Sorry, and by the way, my voice is all shot from E3.
Woo!
Woo, yeah.
Games!
Yeah. And then we do this little karaoke thing, which is really fun, where just like a bunch of people come together, all the PR people.
Oh, and you did
devs
the
and
the
stuff.
Red Bull Women in Gaming thing.
We
or
did the
whatever?
Red Bull Women in Gaming
Yeah,
thing.
Dana
and,
had
like,
one
I
of
don't
those.
know why I'm here because all of these people are far more accomplished than me, but it was it was a cool thing. I was like, all right.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. Dana sent me it. She went and did the interview, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's great.
I
Isn't
don't know
that
what
cool?
this is. What
It's a
was
like
it?
Women in
It's-
Gaming
yeah,
exhibition or
Red Bull
Oh.
campaign. They
Yeah.
had a little booth in E3 and showing the girls pictures.
So
of
what you're
clothes.
telling me is that women are trying to take video games away from men?
Absolutely.
can't
yes.
play
That's
them
what I heard
anymore,
you
Yeah,
right?
no, yeah.
What the thing is
And
like
I have to
when
play as a woman
And
in
we
every
won't
there's
game.
fuck
a
anybody.
there's a
Like, we
finite
just-
amount of
Yeah.
gaming, And when women come into gaming, that
take
shrinks.
games away
we
from
take
them.
it away. Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
I can't play the game.
Honestly,
and then,
I want all women protagonists. Like, I don't want to see a man in a game again. And that's what we're really fighting
that makes sense.
for.
Then you go and you date
boys aren't allowed to
Chad
play
instead of
games.
me.
Yeah, fucking
Fucking Chad.
Yeah, well, Stacy's. We're Stacy's. What are you going to do?
Soon enough, I'm going to have to beg for the character customization of having a wiener in a game.
Absolutely.
Why can't I be Wonder Man in this Wonder Woman game?
Where's my bulge slider?
Yeah.
Like,
That's cool, though.
Yeah.
There is a dong slider in that one game.
Conan Exiles?
Yeah, you can have big old dick if you want.
Yeah.
It's fine.
That's great.
Can be a liability on the battlefield, though.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
your
just want
HP goes down as you drag it across the battlefield.
I want the googly eyes option. I want to put googly eyes on
the dick?
on the giant penis. That would be hilarious.
You throw Mario's hat on it and you become the dick.
Cappy!
Get a little Mario cap for your dick. That'd be great. Little Mario hat cock rings. We need to make those.
Oh, God.
It's a me.
Well.
So, yeah, E3 was fun. It was all right. I mean, like, the actual convention itself, maybe not, but everything else
Well, we're all
was great.
looking forward to PAX.
Yep.
Yeah, PAX is always
PAX,
my
I
favorite.
love
PAX is the
PAX.
best.
Yeah.
They did a great thing.
It's in Seattle.
Seattle's
Lovely
great.
city.
A
It's
great
run
city.
super smoothly,
We go
too.
for 2
Like,
hours and then sneak away to Bumbershoot and watch a music festival instead.
Okay, we've done our obligation. Let's go to Bumbershoot. We had
got-
something they were planning. And we were like, they're like, oh yeah, we should probably let's do it around in the afternoon or something. Nah, we should do it as early as possible just in case something goes wrong.
Wait, you guys were there
Last year, and we just
right?
left and went to the music festival the
I got
entire
fucking
time.
stuck in an elevator. Like, that's my memory from PAX. I got stuck in an elevator for an hour, and I periscoped.
What?
So I was really nervous because I was going to host a live show
Yeah.
for BioWare,
Yeah.
and I wanted to do
You
a good
hosted a live
job.
show in an elevator instead.
Well, yeah. And
This year, though, you'll have your fidget spinner. If you get caught in an
That's true.
elevator,
I'm
it's
just gonna
like you'll be
sit down,
fine.
I'll be
This is
good.
fun.
Yeah.
But I
Did
had
you shit all over it?
I did not.
Isn't that video?
No,
where the
but
guy
I
gets
did a
caught in it?
tour. Like, it was my living room. Like, here's the bathroom. I'm not going to use that unless it gets real dire. But because the wind was so crazy, like, the elevators across the city were just not working. Like, they were all like the firefighters, the really handsome firefighters that came to rescue me.
Yeah.
Like, the doors open, I'm just like these 3 super handsome guys. I was like, and they said, yeah, we've just been all over the city trying to fix.
And you're the
these
only person that
rescue
didn't
people.
shit themselves.
Yeah.
and
Well, I had a
start
glass
gnawing
of
on their
wine.
hands.
I had a glass of wine, so I was like,
Yeah.
all right,
Nice.
I'm good here for a while.
Nah,
Yeah, it's like the size of a New York apartment. As long as
pretty
it's
much,
like,
yeah.
Anytime you're going to step into an elevator, make sure you have some alcohol
Yep.
in your
I was
in your
really
bag.
lucky. I had a banana and some alcohol, so I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm good for another 3 or 4
And a
hours
diaper.
if I get stuck.
And
here.
a diaper. Always wear a diaper.
It was weird because the buildings were swaying. I was feeling sick because I looked out the window and they were just.
Wait, they had a
swinging
window
back
in
and
the elevator?
No, in my room. That's why I
Oh.
went downstairs because I was feeling nauseous from the
Oh.
swaying. It's nuts.
Well, Bumbershoot was great.
Yeah.
You should have been there. Run the Jewels.
Yeah.
Zoo.
Oh shit.
Yeah. It was great
Father
time.
John Misty. All the greats.
Reggie Watts.
There's
Oh,
the
shit.
lineup this year is great. I can't wait to go to PAX and then sneak away to that festival
Well,
the entire time.
Actually, let me know because that sounds great.
Yeah, we
yeah,
got
we
it.
went with Dan Casey.
We got it
last
for like
year, and
less than face value
We bought tickets for like $150 for 3
Really?
days.
on Craigslist.
Oh
Yeah.
holy shit. That's
Yeah, it was
awesome.
it was
Paid
awesome.
on Venmo. It's easy.
Yeah, they sell weed inside the place.
Yeah, I don't even smoke weed, but I was just high as fuck the entire time. It
When
was
in
great.
Seattle.
Some guy traded. He's like, "Hey man, can I have a cigarette?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." He's like, "Here." He handed me like 1.5 grams of weed, and I was like, "Do you have any papers?" He's like, "Yeah, here's a bunch of." I'm like, "All right, thanks, cool."
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I was just
shit.
high
When in
for the rest of the
Seattle.
trip. I ended up like throwing. There was like no way I was gonna smoke all of it. I think I either gave it to someone or just threw it in the trash.
Do you notice there's a lot of like crack addicts up there too as well?
Yeah,
like,
there's a lot of just
people like
crazy
standing in the
homeless.
street like with pizza, like
Yeah.
sort of doing a weird ritual.
Well, it's like
lot
I
of
think
crazy
I think
folks.
it's like that around that convention center too. They know like a bunch of like people with money are gonna be around there,
This
so it's
was-
kind of like
yeah.
it's kind of like, hey, give me some money. Like there's a lot of beggars.
Did I tell you guys? I don't know if we have time, but I ever tell you the ghost tour story
Ghost
down
tour.
in Seattle? Yeah. So when we were in PAX, like we decided drunkenly to go on a ghost tour, and I was like, I'm gonna give this ghost tour. It's like midnight, so I like studied up on the ghost of Pike Place, and I also made up a bunch of shit. But we go down there, and like, have you guys been to Pike Place, right? So
Yeah.
you know that
Yeah.
food court area, like the outdoor food court. We look over, and there's people just straight up having sex on this table, like straight up. And Daryl, who's like completely shit faced at this point, is in love with these people. It's like, it's just so romantic. Like, this is just so
Passionate.
beautiful. And so this guy who's homeless walks up to us and
wait, were the people fucking homeless?
No, I know they were just like normal people, and there was other people like sort of making out in alcoves. Like it was a weird like fuck place. Like I don't know. I guess it's where you go on a Thursday night or whatever.
This one zone is like it's cool. You won't get arrested for
banging on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was real weird. But then this guy who was homeless came up and started asking for money. And we have Chelsea and Jess, and I get very protective around women like in scary places. So I'm like, let's try to shoo him away. Yeah, I was white knighting. And Brandon like fucking takes out his wallet, which is full of $20 bills, and starts like flipping through them in front of this homeless guy. And I'm just like, this
what
is
an asshole.
It was but I'm like, this guy also. He was very aggressive about money.
Yeah.
Like he was
like looking for a one in a wad of 20s?
And so then Daryl makes friends with this guy.
Oh, Jesus.
Goddamn Daryl.
It gets real weird.
Wait, so were you doing let me get back to the beginning. Were you doing a self-guided ghost tour?
Yes,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So
I thought you were on like an officially licensed.
I made it up. And so I started I'm still trying to keep this group together. Everyone's drunk. And so the homeless guy joins us. He's like, man, you got to stop talking about these people having sex. Like, you got to like stop talking about sex. You got to embrace this is the homeless guy talking to Daryl. Like, and Daryl has this moment of enlightenment. He's like, yeah, you're right, man. So
the shrooms were good.
So the shrooms were good. I was standing up and finishing the ghost tour. And then another homeless guy walks up. He's like, hey, man, I heard you were looking for this. Pulls out a straight up crack pipe. And I'm like, oh, this shit's real.
Yeah.
I've never seen a crack pipe in person.
Really?
And
they're in gas stations.
Yeah.
And at that point, I'm like, okay, we should just go. And then later, I think Daryl fell asleep with the pizza in his bed and then put a blanket over it to keep it warm. That's the end of the story.
And then he had sex with it.
And then he probably
Did you
he
see
took it down to the Pike place and made love to it.
Were all those people ghosts?
Very possibly.
Scarier than ghosts?
I mean, a little scarier.
Should we tell the story of the cruelest hazing ritual?
No, I think we should let some time pass before we tell that story publicly. We'll tell you afterwards.
Okay.
But it was
bonkers.
Someone got pranked on the in the group, and it wasn't even a fucking prank.
Anyway,
it was just mean.
But we were the only people who thought it was mean. Everyone was like, "Wasn't that fucking hilarious?"
Can I
I was like, "No."
Who was pranked?
Yeah, we'll tell you afterwards.
Okay.
I don't want to like have any identifying like marks.
Okay.
But anyways, thanks for joining us on this podcast. I know it's a day late, but yeah,
we've $1 short.
We've been on island time, so everything's a little bit late.
Take your watch off. Have a cigar.
Yeah, that was the one thing I was gonna say. Island time is like you order a mojito and it's like you're like watching them make it, and it's like 10 minutes goes by. You're just like, cool. Anytime.
What's the rush, buddy?
It's Cuba.
Yeah. I think they were like, first of all, they probably hadn't learned how to make them until recently. The hotel room had just opened, and it's like, if I screw this up, I'm gonna get fired. So I'm just gonna take my time.
Yeah, but I having watched so many mojitos get made, I could probably make one from memory right now.
You just need about a gallon of sugar,
a shitload of lemon juice,
and then rum,
some mint sprigs, one of those little baseball bats.
Yeah. They love baseball. All right, thanks for joining us today. We will see you guys soon. We're gonna have a Tugs up very shortly, and then just all the regular stuff. Party time this week. Maybe have the Game Grumps guys on.
Well, now you're gonna set us up for disappointment.
GGG, Game Grumps guys, not German Goo Girls. Two different things.
Good to know.
It was like that used to be like the e-fucked of like the early 2000s.
It was swap.avi.
What?
You guys don't know swap.avi?
No, let's go look at it now though.
All right.
All right. Adios.
Mudfall.